Hi everyone, today I would like to take you through one of the simplest yet most powerful tools in motorsport strategy analysis. It is not something I invented or heard through the grapevine. It is something that is widely used in motorsports. Anytime you're going to have basically a pit stop, you're going to have to make a choice. So you're going to have a strategy. This tool is called the GAPPER. The GAPPER lives up to its name. It's basically a really simple way of laying out on a graph the gap between the cars throughout the race. Every time you're going to have a pit stop, you can use this tool to see what was the best strategy. So let's dive into it. This is what it looks like. With this graph, you'll be able to have right before your eyes everything you've ever heard of in motorsport strategy. You'll be able to see an overcut, an undercut. I see one right here. You'll see how a one-stop strategy can compete with a two-stop strategy. There is a lot of information in there, but stick around and I will take you through it. I would like to divide my next points in 4 main parts. The first one is going to be about the kind of data you need to have to plot a GAPPER. The second one is how to read such a graph. Next, how to plot it. How to get something looking like this. And finally, how is it useful? What information can I get from this? Oh, how cool is that?
Don't ever do that again! Carnivore!
First of all, you're going to need every lap time of every car throughout the whole race. And that's it. You have to bear in mind that this is a post-race strategy analysis, so you're going to need the data from the race you want to look at. All of these data are available for free to everyone following the link in my description. You can download them and have fun if you want. And get me started the YouTube channel, so who knows what it'll do to you. As in every graph, you have 2 axes. The horizontal axis here is basically the timeline. It goes from the first lap of the race to the last lap of the race. Fairly easy. The vertical axis is the gap axis. It's in seconds and it goes from 0 to minus whatever the maximum gap is. I hear some of you asking, but if this is used to plot gap, how is the first car of the race, the leading car, not just a flat straight line? Well, that is a very good question. And this brings me to my next and third point. This is not a simple gap to leader graph. This is I would say, gap to reference graph. And as a reference, we are going to use what I will call the average race lap time. As you guess, the average race lap time is basically the duration of the race divided by the number of laps. When I say duration of the race, I mean the time between the green lights and the checkered flag. So that's the time it took the winner to do all the laps of the race, basically. USA 2019. That was a pretty straightforward 3-way battle for the lead between Bottas and Verstappen on a 2-stop and Hamilton on a 1-stop strategy. The race duration was 1 hour 33 minutes 55 seconds, 653. It was 56 lap long. That means the average lap time is 100 seconds, 0.635. From that reference, you're going to replace lap times by gap to this reference. For example, if the first lap of your race is 105 seconds, which is 1 minute and 45 seconds, yeah? To plot on the graph, you're not going to plot 1 minute 45. You're going to plot -5 because you're 5 seconds slower than the reference. Okay? From there on, you just need to add that gap lap after lap, and you're going to have the line going up and down depending on your pace throughout the race. Up and down. How's that? Basically, every time a driver is going to be slower than the reference we just mentioned, his curve is going to be falling down. As soon as he gets faster than that reference, the curve will start rising and rising. You do that for every cars, at least every cars you're interested in. And then that brings me to my last point. Why are we doing this? How is that interesting? It's a really useful tool to analyze what happened during a race. Were your choices the good ones? What could have, should have, would have, everything of? A good post-race analysis tool, basically. You can try and spot a good undercut, a bad undercut, a good overcut, a bad overcut. I took USA 2019 as an example before, so I'm going to stick to that one. We have here a battle between Carlos Sainz, Raikkonen, and Gasly. Sainz is pulling out a great undercut. Raikkonen is trying the same. Sainz managed to pull out the undercut, but Raikkonen didn't. You might say, yeah, but Sainz was just behind Gasly, so he managed to do the undercut. But Raikkonen was further back, so it didn't work. Yes, but also, if Raikkonen's pit stop and his outlap were as fast as Sainz's, he would have exactly be there when Gasly came out of the pits. He was a bit slower both on the pits by 0.2 and on his outlap by almost a second. So that didn't happen. You can visualize all of that just by looking at the gap between Sainz and Raikkonen before their pit stop, here, and after their pit stop. You see all the time that Raikkonen lost relatively to Sainz. If he didn't lose that time during his pit stop and his outlap, he probably would have been able to undercut Gasly. If you didn't get anything of what I just said, I strongly suggest you watch a video about undercuts. I advise you watch mine if I've done one, and if not, Chain Bears, probably. It's a really good one. I'll put the link in here. I don't want to go too deep into that. I'm going to do a few videos. I'm going to start with Hungary 2019, maybe France 2005. If you have any suggestions, if you have any suggestions, just hit the comment section which races you want to hear about. Just let me know. If you liked it, smash that like button. Yeah, stick around. Peace out.